Hello there. Today I had a few instances of being sold to by people who I am either not a good fit for, or I have never met them. And so, like, why are you selling to me immediately? I had a demo with a company who I had a call with one of the people, like I guess they're sales representatives, before this demo this morning. And so I was interested in the product that they're selling, but they didn't really ask me very good qualifying questions, in my opinion, which I didn't know until I got on this demo this morning. And so I'm sitting in this demo and I'm watching this guy for an hour go through this product, this software. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is cool, but it's really not a good fit for me. And it's not like, oh, I have a different system already, or like my workflow is not really going to fit into this product. It was more like, my company is not at all big enough for this. Like, this is clearly meant for an enormous company, or a company who's got multiple people who are doing this type of work. And it had all these permissions available, and you could have like multiple different levels. And they were hoping, this company was hoping, that I would sign on with them, but also like refer my clients to them. But my clients are not nearly big enough for this product either. And so there's 3 other people on this call. The guy was doing the demo, and then these 2 other people. And so the 4 of us spent an hour watching this guy go through a piece of software that really wasn't relevant for me. And I think, if you're gonna spend, or you're gonna invest that much time in a sales call, like, make sure the person that you're talking to is qualified. And what do I mean by qualified? So what I mean by qualified is just that you have asked them the right questions, and you've figured out if they are a good fit for you or not. So that really comes from knowing who your clients are, which means spending time to develop a profile of who is my ideal client, so that when you speak to somebody, whether it's online, like you're messaging with them, or maybe they book a 30-minute call with you or something like that, you can figure out very quickly if this person is an ideal client for you or not. Because if they're not, you have wasted your time on this sales call. You've also wasted their time. But even worse, you might convince this person that they are a good fit, and then they sign on with you, and then that ends up usually being a relationship that takes a lot of effort and doesn't have a lot of good return for either person. So you end up spending more time. You aren't able to satisfy the client, and it rarely ends up being a good relationship. So having really good qualified leads and knowing who your ideal client is really important. And I think it's really important before you start selling to that person. It's like, I don't know why today is the day that I'm getting all these LinkedIn messages from people that are just immediately selling me something. They're not even asking me like, hey, let's connect, and I like looked at your profile or whatever. Or they are saying that, but it's clearly just very generic. And I think, if you're gonna sell something to someone, they have to know who you are first. Like, you can't just send them a message and be like, let's connect, and in their titles, like, I help accountants, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I'm not gonna connect with you. I used to be like, okay, sure, let's give them a chance. And now I'm like, no, hard no. I don't want to waste my time with this, because I know that the only reason that you want to connect with me is because you want to sell me something. Like, you have no interest in my business and what I'm doing. So, small rant for the day, I guess. I'm sick of people selling me things when they haven't qualified me as a lead. And I think that's really important. I try to do that with everyone that I chat with, all the small business owners. And I start out a relationship with a small business owner by giving them something, by answering a question for them, by trying to give them what their next step is in their financial journey, whatever that that looks like for them. So maybe they've got a tax return they need to file, or maybe they have a question about the CRA or about bookkeeping in general or whatever. And I will answer that question for them. Just full on tell them exactly what they need to know, because I think that first step is super important. And then you can sort of chat with them about like, what are their goals or what needs do they have that maybe an accountant might fill? And if my business model is going to be a good fit for them. And if they're going to be a good fit for me as well. And it's just so, so important to do that. And you as a small business owner are leading that conversation. It's not your client or your lead's job, your pre-client's job to lead that conversation. It's you as a small business owner, which comes back to being just really, really clear about who your ideal client is. So if you have any questions about figuring out who your ideal client is, I would love to chat with you about them. I'm not an expert by any means, but have spent a really long time thinking about what makes my ideal client and how to know what that answer is. Basically, like, how do you know what your ideal client is? So I would love to chat with you. Definitely leave your questions in the comments for me. Also, tell me a story. Tell me a story about like the worst sales call you've ever been on. Maybe it was one that you did. Maybe it was one you were being sold to. I want to hear them. Let me know in the comments. I hope you're doing well. I hope you did not have a day of sales calls that you were not qualified for. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. I'll see you tomorrow.